everybody, and welcome back to our second series of the day. This time around, there was no caster swaps. Me and Albert were so damn excited with that first series that we couldn't give anyone else these spots for this series number two. And Algren, we have a banger ahead of us.
I suppose that's one way to put it. Yeah, we're back.
uh, I I believe there is some Wi-Fi difficulties at the moment for. Yeah, I do believe Olga is experiencing some internet difficulties at the moment, so he'll come back in a little bit, but uh,
Can you hear me?
yes,
All right, all solved. No, we're saying, yeah, we're gonna have ourselves another match here of the Greasy Goblins versus Peace Team Esports. I think both teams sitting at 4-4. I think they've both had a pretty decent start in the beginning of the split, but they have been dropping a bit of the games right now. So I think it was actually Greasy Goblins going 2-2. So then I think maybe 2-4, and then going now maybe to a 4-4, something like that. Whereas the Beasts were, I think, 3-1, going to 4-4-2, and then to a 4-4 when they dropped two games to Gucci Yin, I think last week, if I remember correctly. So they're definitely poised to get back on the winning side of this split right now. But I think both teams should be, I think, somewhat evenly matched, at least as for what I see on paper. But I heard that Desi were talking about this before we got on air. There's actually been some substitutions on the side of the Goblins.
there has been this time around. It is gonna be Panini, the Jungle Buddha, who is mid lane for the Southern Greasy Goblins, TBW Germany in the jungle this time around. So we'll see how it ends up impacting them. Greasy Goblins definitely had a better start than they did towards the end. They have been struggling a little bit, and I think I do want to note as well, these are going to be replay casts, which means it's going to be a little bit different of a format. We do have the draft already ahead of us. It's not going to be live, so we can, I believe, move on over to that. You should see it on your screens now. And taking a little bit look at the two drafts as well, it'll be interesting to see how these picks end up changing, or how the turns of roster end up changing these drafts for these two teams. And speaking of drafts, Algren, are my eyes deceiving me, or is that a Hecarim in my game?
That's also a Velvet and a Galleon in their game. As I also see that there's been 4 bans inside of the Beast, so not really leaving a lot left for the side of the Goblins, as they've had to take the Ezreal in the end of all of this. I think this Hecarim, it pairs well with Kai'Sa. I think in that sense, I think it's pretty decent. But then you also paired it with Poppy and Ron, where it's a bit more defensive. So I think that's maybe a bit weird. But then again, we're gonna have to see how it ends up in the game itself, because you have this Orianna again. We just came out of a game where we saw some great passes from the quarterback to that touchdown scoring guy in the front lines. If this Hecarim can find himself in the middle of some juicy carries, it would be nice. Then again, I don't really see any juicy carries other than Ezreal, because I think almost all of them are very tanky, and the Ezreal is also very slippery. So it might be a little bit more rough here for Orianna to show some really nice damaging ultimates in this game.
Definitely. So I do feel like Germany in the jungle on the side of the Greasy Cup is able to make a difference here. Belveth, known as a champion who has seen a little bit of a rise in the meta lately. A lot of more teams are starting to pick her up, especially with that Kraken Slayer build nowadays. So definitely a lot of DPS could be coming out of her as well. And we did see earlier Trophic on the Ezreal absolutely giving us a show, as well as Dot on the Orianna. So a lot of these champions are old faces, but these players are new faces, and that means that it might just come down to the difference of execution as well. And it's gonna be interesting to see how sort of, because people talk a lot about how the same champions work on different people. So it's gonna be interesting to see how these sort of champions are gonna be played around for both of these sides, as I do believe we should be ready to head on into our game. But yeah, definitely should be an exciting game ahead of us.
I'm not even sure where everybody is going. I think it's just Nautilus, Ezreal bot lane, and okay, we do see Galleon mid. It's not going to be some kind of Belvet mid trick or something. It is going to be Belvet jungle and the Sejuani on top of, because like, you could have put Sejuani, I think, pretty much in all 3 lanes there. I think I've seen the Belvet being played top lane as well, so why not mid lane, you know? As we get the Galleon in the mid lane though, as an answer into the Orianna. Actually, I think that might have been blind. So It's a pretty decent pick because he can resist quite some of the harass that Oriana wants to do because of his magic damage, natural high magic resist and his magic damage shield. So Panini piloting a Birdio in the mid lane, as we see potentially some kind of fishing from Hacks as he's gonna enter the jungle and Snodus, but he only has a Belvet with him, so just gonna put down a quick ward there to spot it out on the Raptors. And everything else seems to be kind of starting a little bit more standard, as we have a defensive ward on the side of the beasts on the top side on their blue buff, so they don't want to get invaded. Maybe scared from a late Velvet invade, maybe, or something. So they're gonna sweep this ward and get themselves some early a little bit more of XP for, I think, their mid laner. So he's been able to pick that up, denying the vision on the Raptors.
Definitely so, and a good aggressive play for Vision coming out from the side of Greasy Goblin's hacks, trying to get that down, but the WAP says with his sweeper, no, no, no. And the big thing is, right, XP over to the solo lane. Danny was the one who, like you said, picked up that ward, which means he's gonna be little level 2 a little bit sooner now. On a lane like Oriana, that just it means that Panini might get chunked on a little bit more, but on some more aggressive lanes, and some assassins. Things like these can actually make a difference because League players are so used to timings, right? We've played this, some of us have been playing this game for years, right? And we are used to just the way things are in certain timings. So if that timing gets screwed up, you can potentially sneak up on somebody as a surprise, and already seeing some aggressive trading up towards this top lane. And surprisingly enough, Sejuani and Poppy, it is not a lane I would set out as aggressive, but already health bar dropping on both sides.
Well, the Poppy is actually finding herself kind of on the receiving end of the trades of Sejuani. You don't see her top lane quite as much, but I do believe she's actually quite strong. She gets a lot of damage from her stun passive, and she can harass with W through the wave. So I do think this is more or less Sejuani favored, especially when she goes up against tanks. She has up max health from that E as well, I think. But maybe they have to change that. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's just in the W. But she's got a decent harass potential. She's going to secure herself push. Meanwhile, in the jungle, you're seeing both junglers pathing downwards to bot lane, both full clearing. So they're probably going to meet each other very soon in the river. But you've got priority on the side of the Goblins, so they should be able to answer first on any scuttle fights if they do so happen. But this Hecarim is clearing quite fast, and he might be able to sneak in and engage on this bot lane if these minions might not just spot him out as the ward was cleared. He's just going for this.
Definitely. So here comes a devastating charge on in, but it's gonna be Snacks who ends up arcane shifting on out and needs to be very, very careful here. Does end up dropping a little bit low on HP with Germany being on his way as well. Does have to be a little bit scary, but
That was, that, that
it's
was a
gonna just be some health bar trade.
that was a really good stopping from the side of the Goblins to not allow this Hecarim dealing any more damage. He will lose his Ghost and no Summoner's Blow on the side of the Goblins. Really nice, but I'm a little confused there because I saw Hax's hook going forward, and I believe he was going to hit the wall there almost, but I think it was denied by the push from the Hecarim. And if he had hit the wall, I think if he just dodged out initially and then just pushes him towards his team afterwards, I think that should have been a dead Nautilus. But maybe my eyes deceived me and it wasn't going to quite hit the wall. But nevertheless, just on the side of a blue team, a
Oh.
Ghost blown and a top lane kill for the Sejuani.
Solo Bolo coming on through. You talked a little bit about how strong the Sejuani can be in the top lane, and so far seems a little bit too strong for Pop Or to be able to deal with on that Poppy Cyber with that Ignite teleport combo. No flash for him, is kind of to pick himself up an early kill with that very explosive summoner, and so far that top lane definitely going the way of Greasy Goblins.
Nice to see that Cyberscourge is very aware of how strong this champion can be, as he's going to be able to pick himself up that first kill there, exactly. Maybe, well, I have no idea how to pronounce that, Queenie Paper. Let's say Paper. I think he's maybe not used to seeing the Sejuani damage, he kind of surprised by it, as he's going to be falling down initially here. He's going to get pushed in as well, but then again, it's still a tank matchup. You should be able to just farm out fine later on anyway, so not too much damage done so far. As meanwhile, I just see a little bit of more farming coming down for the junglers here. They are both very farm heavy junglers, so not too much action just yet. both teams do seem to be trying to set up an early dragon, and another bit of a trade coming down here. I think that the Poppins may need to start respecting the range from the Sejuani right now. She has dinged level 6.
Definitely so. Cyber having a fantastic time up there in the top lane now. Level 6s are starting to come through for a lot of his champions, so keep your eyes on Panini because even with that level 6 does have the hero's entrance as well. But looking for an early Drake here on the side of Beast Team Esports should be an early Ocean as well, which can be one of the strongest first Drakes to get, right? Especially against some poke lanes, definitely that extra sustain can help you out through that. And so far we are seeing as well some pings going up towards the top lane, looking for a dive angle with that Sejuani Galio being set up, but Panini is going to be spotted up by that control ward over towards the top side.
Now we're seeing the Galio looking to potentially dive a Poppy. There's a ward there, so they are aware this is happening. No TP for the Oran to help him out. He finds himself in a really rough spot.
Glacial Prism is gonna be coming out. Taunt, the smash, the dash. Cyber is gonna fall, but that's gonna be an execute coming through. But
That's weird.
it, yes, but the demolish proc is what's not gonna come through, as Cyber ended up being the one with the resolve tree. Now Germany going to be under threat. Danny 8x8 finding himself in a 1v1 in the jungle. Now here comes the ultimate as well. Panini finding himself away in Valiant, ends up picking up the kill. Taunts too, but has no one around him to help him out. Is looking for the flash out. Can he get there in time? Yes, he can, as the hero's entrance is not really enough to keep his laner alive. Now the WAP
More bot
on the
lane.
bot lane is gonna be able to get himself on out of there, as the hacks and the stacks are looking for some kills, are looking for some blood, but will not at this point be able to find any, as bleeding is happening all over the place. Both of these teams came here to fight.
A little bit of a question mark after a really good initial play. Stacking up the wave, preparing your priority in mid lane. This Galio makes himself up here. He does lose some CS over it though, but they're gonna pick themselves up a nice kill on that Poppy. They're denying the Poppy a lot of CS, but because the Sejuani died as well, she's not getting the plating, so the gold is actually kind of even in terms of CS. Just the kill gold as an advantage towards the Sejuani, but some strange pathing choices from the Belvet to just go through the enemy jungle and just burns the Galio ultimate as well as their flash. It's just a lot of resources being lost right now because they don't have this for this Herald. But being a 4v3 are gonna manage to still get this anyways, you have to believe.
Definitely so. Papor without an ultimate of his own cannot send anyone over to Brazil, which means this is gonna be an early Herald pickup for the side of Greasy, Goblins, and Panini as well, doing a great job on that Galio to make sure he has prio in that mid lane whenever his team is going for an objective, going for any aggressive plays whatsoever. Could look to just pop the Herald immediately into that mid lane as Valiant. A shockwave is big, and the devastating onslaught is going to be coming through as well. Gonna be going wide, but that should be enough to take out Germany. He's gonna fall, and that is gonna be an early kill over to the side of Beast Team Esports.
There's such disrespect coming down from the Belvet now. I feel like 2 times in a row at this point. She's just walking under this tower. She sees the Hecarim. She just doesn't back off. She just wants to hit the tower. As the Orianna ultimate comes down and it just kind of pops this Belvet. She can't really fight back. She's under that tower. She has the Herald, but she's not going to be able to use it just yet. So, really questionable movement here, I think, for the side of this Belvet. But really good pickup there, and that's now 2 kills on the side of the Hecarim. And I think we've all seen Hecarim and solo queue pop off if this guy starts to run away with the game. I mean, there are a lot of tanky champions on the side of the Goblins, but that sustained damage from Hecarim is actually really, really scary. And if he starts popping off early, that could be a lot of trouble for the side of the Goblins, though.
Definitely so, and we are seeing so far the game being pretty even. Panini now is going to be under threat in the mid lane. The WAP looking for a play there on the support on that Braum. Should be a scuttle picked up as well. Some vision put down by hacks, which means that Gefalianet's ganking opportunity should be pretty much diminished down towards that bot lane, and so far the game has calmed down a little bit for both of these teams. As I say that they are looking for a bot lane play, God of Snacks is going to use the arcane shift to get himself out of there. Could look for a gank in the mid lane. Now Danny 8x8 does have the shockwave available. Flash forward, it's not going to be sidestep. Here comes the hero's entrance, is going to get the knockup as well. The taunt comes through, shockwave is big. There's going to be a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, but Valiant is going to be able to finish off the kill and clean this up, as that's going to be another kill over to this Hecarim and 3-0 on him so far. This is going to be a scary horse heading into the later stage of this game.
I'm gonna have to call not worth, to be honest. This is a flash expended to get the Orianna. Yes, that is a carry that you're kind of trying to put behind, but you're getting the Galio ahead, which is usually himself more of a protective setup champion that enables you to do aggressive plays. And if you're dropping down yourself, oh,
Oh
they're
my
just
god.
Hecarim ultimate.
Very quick engage there. The Onslaught of Shadows is going to be hitting now. Glacial Prism coming out as well is going to be able to see him down a hook under tower. WAP is going to take a tower shot. Germany making his way over. This is going to turn into a 3v2 extremely quickly. Teleport coming through. He's going to even out the numbers, but is he going to immediately go down? Danny 8x8 TPing in the middle of the minion wave. Papor is going to make his way over. Everybody in the mid lane, everybody wants a piece, and everybody is coming down here to fight.
Low health bars, but nobody dies. It starts off with Hax being kind of out of position, and they're gonna just pull the trigger on him. But he just manages to get out, almost pull somebody under the tower, set up for their own kill with Sejuani, but nobody falls. But they end up having a good mid lane push as they're gonna pull down the Herald, get some plate gold, and they're gonna run straight to this Drake to try and burst this, as this Hecarim had to drop out of this. He had to recall, but he has picked himself up the Spear of Shojin, so he's looking very scary as a blast going into this.
Germany is gonna be taking very, very low here. Stolen Mountain Drake on the side of Beast Team Esports is gonna be the Infernal Blazing. There's gonna be an Infernal Soul on the map as well. Valiant gets away with the Drake, gets away with the kill, and I'm scratching my head a little bit because Germany being that low on HP, not sure what Greasy Goblins were doing over at the Dragon Cyber. Gonna be very, very low on this top lane play, pushed under the tower here. Papor will not have the damage to finish this off, but he should be fine from this tower shot, having the chain vest in his inventory, making him very, very tanky. Now,
So close to having revenge, but he might get turned on now instead.
Panini over in the top lane looking for Papor, seeing a revenge for what he did to his top laner. Now the taunt is gonna go down. Is he gonna have the damage ever?
Oh no!
It's gonna be open as well, but the denial from Papor with the W. Danny 8x8 under threat in the mid lane. Cyber now being jumped down by Falionet. Jock by this big. That's gonna hit two members. Now here comes down to full force as well. The WAP is gonna be proccing that passive. That's gonna be unstoppable on Falionet. Germany being the first one to fall. Now Cyber as well being the under threat by the WAP. But Form versus Sejuani. Sejuani wins that any day of the week. Falionet is gonna be looking to just burst down these members on the side of Greasy Goblins, just looking to go all in and looking for these kills. But the side of Greasy Goblins are going to live on 1 HP, and what a fight.
It's this fight started in top lane, ended in mid lane. Almost the Poppy getting revenge on Sejuani. She's basing, she's gonna TP the mid lane while the Galio is trying to finish off the Poppy. Almost dove the Sejuani. Can't quite finish it as the Poppy does stop the dash coming in. And they're gonna pick themselves up another punish here on the aggression that is happening in mid lane. And I feel like the beasts are kind of starting to run away with this game. This Hecarim is now 5-0. It's worth 550. If you can't get that pound, it would be a really good way to get back into this game. But it's just they're trying to make aggressive plays, but they're just kind of getting punished. And this is looking like a pretty big jungle diff, as you see it. 35 CS difference as 5-0 to 0-5. That is rough for, I believe, his first game coming into this team as a sub.
Definitely. So far, the roster changes of putting Panini in the mid lane not working out for the side of Greasy Goblins, and this is a scary moment because Algren, you and I have both been in the solo queue games where the Hecarim gets random 5 kills at the top side somewhere, and you're just sitting there like, well, hold on now. Now what do I do when he runs at me at 5 million movement speed, pops Ghost, jumps in my face, and just queues me down, and just doesn't die in the process?
So this Ezreal doing a great job here, playing weak side for his team. So just don't press tab. That's all you got to do right now. Just don't, just live in denial. Like, you don't want to think about what this Hecarim can do. So you just kind of farm it up and you just stay on the opposite side of the map, as they're gonna have to give up this Herald here as well. They're looking maybe for a potential dive on this Kai'Sa, but this Braum is now running. So if this Braum meets up with this Kai'Sa, it's gonna be really tough to lock her down. She has ultimate. The Braum can deny a lot of damage. The Braum passive is there. She's playing very respectfully. I think Mammon has been very well, I think, throughout all of these Team Esports games to just kind of farm it up and stay safe and be kind of unkillable. I think he's doing excellent, especially in the top of the stats, as we see a Hecarim ult forward.
Onslaught of shadows into the hero's entrance, gonna be going wide now. Falionet gonna be looking for the play. Keep in mind, this is a very fed horsey on your screens. Falionet with the shockwave does still have that available to his name. Snacks finding his way the hell out of there. Flash forward from the WAP is gonna fight the passive proc now. Shockwave is gonna be still online. Should be coming through any moment now. Not even gonna need it to finish off these kills, as it's gonna be Beast Team Esports just running over the side of Greasy Goblins, and no one on the side of the Goblins seems to have an answer for this horsey, looking for a tier 1 in the mid lane. Meanwhile, a tier 1 in the top lane is going to be picked up as well, and should be able to finish off this tower with ease with the help of
Might get a
Shelly
second
over
one.
towards this mid lane. Should definitely get a charge here. Not sure if they're going to commit to the full tower, but the charge is going to do a lot of damage.
Dragon spawning also in 45 seconds. I think the recall should be coming through also for the beasts very soon now, so they can also pick themselves up their Drake. But the beasts are kind of running away with this game. You've seen that the goblins they were looking for something bot lane, but they can't really pull the trigger. They don't really have the crash ready to dive this Kai'Sa, and then they're just ending up in a very awkward spot. And yes, you have the Galio ult to back them up, but they kind of just have to run away. This Hecarim is very scary. You don't really have burst damage to kill him either, because the damage needs to come from your carries, but you're playing with an Ezreal who needs to get multiple items if he needs to deal with a massive carry like Hecarim. And meanwhile, this Bel'Veth is just sitting so far behind. She's 0-6 against this Hecarim. She cannot trade autos with him, as that every auto is another like Q spam from the Hecarim as well. It's just too much damage. She's level 9 versus level 11. She actually just picked up level 10 just now. But it is looking really, really rough for the side of the Goblins right now. It is only a 2,500 gold deficit, but I feel like the advantage is stacking up really quickly for the Beasts as they picked up themselves the third Drake as well.
Definitely so. Soul Point, like you said, coming through the third dragon for the side of Beast Team Esports. Feels like they have been the ones in control from the very beginning. Germany now looking for a sneaky play. Could look for an execute here. Fallinet might commit the ultimate just to
It's
get
proxying,
this
excuse
kill.
me.
Onslaught of Shadows is gonna be coming out now. Devastating charge going to
There's
run
nowhere
out
to
just
go.
in time, but he cannot jump over the terrain. Flash out now to be able to bonk himself on back, but Fallianet still on the chase. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Snacks ended up falling to Mammon feet. Now is gonna go and get that damage resist on in, but it's not gonna be enough. Tier 2 falling in the mid lane, tier 1 dropping in the bot lane, and this game is turning to absolute chaos in front of our eyes. Now Panini gonna be looked on by Fallianet WAP over here to help him out, make sure that his jungler can pick up this kill. Danny 8x8 as well wants a piece of this action, and so does Mammon feet. Everybody wants a piece of the Panini, and he will fall. And now they are looking over to this top lane, but this game is falling into absolute shambles, as we are seeing top 4 now gonna be looked on by Cyber and God of Hacks. Could be now there on the dash on that Arctic Assault, but it's gonna be knocked back. That is a good ultimate coming out, which means the play at the top lane is dead. And finally, both of these teams have said we have had enough. Let's just relax for a little bit.
It's getting a little tough to watch. This Bel'Veth kind of, I don't know why she was there, and then she also ends up expending her flash to still die because his Hecarim is just too damn fast. It's kind of all falling apart. Yeah, you start to wonder if when you see a game like this where it's all coming from, and maybe the substitution. The teams are just like not used to playing with each other right now. But this, yeah, the Beasts, they're not looking to slow down anytime soon. This could be very well a 20-minute Baron. I think this Hecarim can. I think they just want to force another fight because right now, just the, the the goblins. I don't think they have the damage at all right now, as they're looking to pick off a Sejuani. That might be a bit rough under a tower though, but there's no help nearby just yet. Oh, TP coming through though.
Definitely. So the TP is available. That is going to be Panini at the back end of that, which means sort of Beast Team Esports got exactly what they wanted. They wanted that TP, and it's going to get the hell on out of there. Like you said it yourself, Algren. Cyber on the Sejuani, not someone you necessarily want to be diving. That has that sun, does have that Sunfire and those steel caps finish on up. Does mean he's very tanky. Mammon feet looking for a play now, and that would have been sneaky. I think he was looking for the ultimate into the Sejuani shot, the Oriana shockwave, which would have been a play and a half coming out of Beast Team Esports.
Right now, they're not looking to do anything aggressive. And I feel like it's also just the Beasts haven't really had to pull the trigger themselves really that much. I feel like they're just kind of responding to what the Goblins have been doing or where they have been, and they just feel like, well, you're not allowed to be here, sir. So they just kind of punish it that way. And right now they're just kind of taking it slow and just setting up this next objective. You see a lot of vision coming down here behind the Baron Pit as well for the side of the beast. So I think they're gonna be running up to there very soon and just gonna start it up. And I think you just kind of want them to run into you. And I think you just win that fight right now. Like, you are so far ahead. I just don't know how the Goblins are gonna deal with it if they start this Baron.
Definitely so, and I mean the big thing is, right, this dragon is 1 minute out. You don't want to be trading any objectives when you're up by 4,000 kills, 4,000 gold when you're up by 8 kills, and you want to sort of get everything when you're this far ahead, 7-0 on the Hacker for the one core drinker finished up as well. You want to do this Baron before that dragon spawns, which is exactly what they are doing now. Beast Team Esports looking for this Baron, the big worm in the top lane now. The WAP is going to be under effect, going to get hooked in. Keep in mind, Germany cannot dash over the wall. No flash
He has no
available for
flash.
himself either, which does mean the Baron will just go over now. Valiant might keep looking here
TP
for
though.
the fight. Might keep looking for these kills. Cyber in the backline. Danny 8x8 is going to be under threat here. It's going to be the Hero Center coming out as well. Hax is going to try to CC up, just stun up a Valiant in the backline in the middle of everybody's snacks. Is going to be able to pick up the shutdown on the Hecker. Now, can they do this play? Panini is going to fall very low. He's going to have to flash out as well. Cyber falling very low himself as well. The flash forward from top 4 is going to finish up that kill. Shockwave coming through, and the Greasy Goblins just straight up do not have the damage to face off against the Beast Team Esports squad.
A great team fight there for the side of the beast. They do manage to get the 1,000 gold shutdown on their 80 carry for the side of the Goblins, but with the Baron as well, this is just so much that they can take right here. I think they could just immediately take an inhibitor. I don't know if they could go for more, but that might be a little bit risky, but they don't need to. They can just base right now with these Baron recalls, or actually scratch that. They might just want to position right for this Drake here. I'm not sure if this Bel'Veth can even come close to this.
Oh.
As almost blocking this Braum in the midair, but this Hecarim is sprinting over here. I think this is gonna be a risky one to take. It might be also risky for Beast to do this on low health bars, but won't be holding him down. It's already gone. It's already gone.
Oh, yeah, there goes the Drake. Danny 8x8 might get caught out. That's gonna be a good stopwatch coming out to buy some time, but only thing you're buying is time. Shutdown over to Germany. Finally seeing something out of this Bel'Veth. 23 minutes in, and that is going to be the first kill on the board for him as we take a look at the replay of the earlier fight.
This fight was kind of all over the place. As you see the Sejuani TP coming down to try and lock down some of the carries while the rest of his team can collapse, but Hecarim actually just ended up collapsing on the side of the Goblins. He does manage to fall down to the side, to the Ezreal there, but meanwhile, there's just so much damage coming from the rest of the members. They've picked themselves up towers and other objectives. It's not a one-man army, even though the kill score might look like it. Mammoth Feet is quite relevant as he's just burning through those health bars. The members of the Goblins are just not tanky right now, as he's just finding himself now on a 6-0 apparently. As a Sejuani was trying to push up against the Baron Up team past the river, as he's gonna fall down to that immediately, and then you're seeing right now that this Kai'Sa is also very much online and scary, as he's a bit caught out.
The WAP on his lonesome in the top side jungle. Treasure Barrage gonna be coming out alongside the hero's entrance. Can they shut down this horsey? Can they get another kill onto Valiant? That's gonna be the onslaught of shadows coming out to that backline. Stacks looking to be killed. Shockwave comes through as well. Hax is gonna be taken out. That is a side stack for Valiant. Still looking for the big prize. Still looking for snacks over the top lane as Panini is gonna fall as well. The WAP ends up living, and they tried to take this Braum out with everything they had. Still ends up surviving another day. Now Germany gonna be under threat. Valiant gonna be looking for the dive under this tower, just waiting for his charge to come back on up. Here it comes, and you should take down the Bel'Veth in the top lane. Now the rest of the Beast Team Esports looking to push their lead further on into this mid lane, looking to end this game swiftly and surely for themselves, looking to pick up their first game of the series. Cyber gonna be looking for the Arctic Assault in that mid lane. Now looking for any kills he can find. He's gonna get locked up, CC'd up, rooted up, and
There's no wave.
So big coming through. No wave indeed for their side. Bonus feet now gonna be under threat, gonna be underhooked. They're gonna be knocked back, shot down over to Panini. That is not who you wanted that gold to go on for. The other Greasy Goblins at Beast Team Esports bite off a bit more than they can chew, and they do end up giving away a shutdown.
A bit of anti-synergy there coming down from the Beast. It looked like with the fight in the tower, it looked like they were actually going to get pick off kills, but the Poppy is just kind of like kicking him out, and I think he just kind of saved lives there for the Goblins. So they're going to be able to hold off the side of the beast just a little longer, as the
What?
flash is gonna have to be expended for the guys that are going for a bit of greedy recalls here. Goblins are just kind of pushing up right now, fishing in the jungle as they do find a hook. Can they follow it up with anything more?
Speaking of fishing, the fish has been found. Hax ended up trying to get the ultimate down onto Moment Feet, but the death charge will not have enough depth to find its target this time around. Now, he does still have that to his name, but that death charge has not been that useful this game, just because the rest of his team, like you said, Algren, like I've said Algren many times, just do not have the damage to follow.
They're just too far behind. It's even if you get on somebody locked down, you have to get the damage there, and it's looking quite rough right now. There's very fat members. Sejuani, she can't beat the Hecarim, but it's gonna take Hecarim at least some time to kill that member. But he's just not even gonna try right now. Just fixing the wave here, regrouping with his team as they're kind of looking for a way to end out this game. I think if they just kind of group up in a side lane and just put a Poppy on the opposite side with the TP, I think you can kind of forcibly end this game quite soon. But the Baron is spawning in 50 seconds, and I guess they're just going to do it with a Baron buff. Because right now we've seen almost everybody but the jungler on the side of the beasts in the river shortly going to be joining up as well. It is also this fire, flame drake. What is it called?
Infernal?
Fire infernal. God, thank you. I can't think of the word. It's an additional source of burst damage as we're starting to see some fishing. Teams looking for
Definitely.
an
So
engage.
both teams are looking for some fish at the moment. Hacks walking up a little bit too far now. Germany gonna be under threat. Here comes Falian, and also a lot of shadows is gonna be available. Keep your eyes on this Hecarim. 10 on 2, 3 items at the moment. You're gonna take the control ward for now. Gotta satisfy himself on that no kills on the board so far. Looking for these Krugs as well on the top side. Stacks just looking to wave clear that mid lane on him, but both teams are just at a bit of a stalemate at the moment.
I think you've seen just nice clearing on the side of the beast here. They can't see anywhere in here. They have to put their wards down, but there's a control with them as well.
It's gonna be the Baron picked up here by the side of Beast Team Esports. Papor charging up his hammer, but no need to put that down as the entire team of Greasy Goblins said. We better back out of this one. Fallen is gonna be looking for an engage on the mid lane. Ghost is gonna be popped. Here comes the devastating charge. Onslaught of Shadows is gonna be available straight into the back line. Looking for that Ezreal, looking for Snacks. Now Snacks versus Palionet in the back line. That is all that matters. Gonna shut down Mammon Feet, but it won't matter as the shockwave is too big. Palionet unkillable on the Circle, and Snacks trying to put down the damage, but it's not gonna be enough. Panini is gonna go down as well. Now Cyber gonna be tagged up with the Brawl passive, should go down as well. Down towards the bot lane. Fallen still hunting, still looking. Snacks is gonna go down here. That devastating charge comes through, a triple kill for Danny 8x8, and what a stomp coming out from the side of Beast Team Esports. Valiant at 12 on 2, and they should be looking to end it.
It is absolutely a stomp on the side of the beast. They've completely run away with the game. They took that fight, I believe, 3v5 for a good portion, like 10 seconds or something, as they do end up having the Kai'Sa drop down there. But now they're just kind of running away with it. This Hecarim is just unkillable. He's got himself that gore drinker. He's just not able to shut him down. 4 people who are left after that fight will take down the Nexus and will take down game 1 for the Beasts in this series.
Definitely so, and so far, a pretty dominating performance, I would say, coming out
Absolutely.
of the Beast Team Esports. It was not a lot I saw when it comes to the Greasy Goblins in this game number 1, and pretty dark times for them, and I would argue probably not very fun to play either when you're just getting ran over by a 5-0 Hecarim just like that very early on into the game. Although I do have to give the spotlight over on the side of Greasy Goblins to Snacks. I feel like he had a pretty stable game himself on that Ezreal, but just the rest of the map was not doing so hot.
I think you can also highlight the Sejuani there as well, finding himself with a solo kill, putting down quite some pressure, maybe a little bit of an oopsie in the dive there, but I felt like it was just, you saw that mid jungle felt a little bit lost, and it may be due to the substitutions or something, but they just kind of didn't have their mojo in the game, and this Hecarim just kind of punished their movement and just got too fed and just kind of ran away with the game. So I hope that they're just gonna pick something maybe some more ease of execution type of comp, because I don't think Galio right now is that green in the meta. That's one thing, and the other thing is I think you have to be kind of coordinated to do this, and you're bringing in like a new player. I think you should just play like some stock standard comp. Like the opposition took something like an Orianna. Just take yourself a scaling mage in the mid lane and put your jungler on a something like a Hecarim is actually fine. Just farming it up and just working for your level 6 in the fighting, something like a Wukong, like a Hecarim. You can look at champions. If you're comfortable on it, maybe even a Lee Sin, so that I can fight earlier, maybe as well, if that's what you want to do. But I think something like Bel'Veth is just really hard to fit into comps that are more coordinated. I think the way she pops off in solo queue is kind of through cheeky plays, cheeky invades. I think it's harder to do and it's easier to punish. So I don't really want to see that coming back. So I just hope there's a little bit more straightforward comp coming out from the side of the Goblins so that we can. I think that to get themselves on like a comfortable position to work from, because you're playing with new players, you need to make it yourself easy to execute and just go and at least fight back a little, you know?
Definitely. So I'm hoping for a little bit more fight back, like you said, on the side of Greasy Goblins for this game number 2. But before we head into it, we're going to take a small little break just to get ourselves ready for this game number 2, the last game of the day as well. And we're going to see if Greasy Goblins can tie up the series or whether Beast Team Esports are going to walk away with a 2-0 for themselves today, which would be very impressive going to next week for themselves as well. But come back in a little bit, guys. We're going to run a little bit off a break and we're going to be with you very, very shortly. welcome back everybody into our second game and our last game of the day between Beast Team Esports and Greasy Goblins and Algren. After that game number one, what are you hoping for the side of Greasy Goblins in this game number two?
It was a really rough game. I think they just kind of didn't manage to gain their footing. So I hope just like a stock standard draft, just play it, maybe even play some scaling or something. Just make it easy for yourself and just play it out a little bit slower and just find your footing on the in that way. I think that's probably the best way to approach this game too.
I mean, definitely so, and we should be also ready to undergo into the draft in just a moment. But as we do get into the draft, seeing all these champions on your screen now, I'll give you a little bit to take a look at everything. But so far in game none, in game one, we did see Greasy Goblins, like you said yourself, not put up too much of a fight. So I'm hoping to see a new breath of fresh air. I'm hoping to see that they have changed something in their draft, but I'm at least seeing a Hecarim again, which I'm surprised that it got to draft.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was something that felt like kind of a problem. I think it's maybe also just kind of a comfort pick for Valiant anyway. So I think that's something I would have taken away personally. And I'm also a little bit surprised actually that they do lock in the Sivir into a Jarvan because you can't really get out of the cage. Then again, the ultimate for the Hecarim is absolutely huge. So that I do like in the synergy between those two picks. Then the other opposite side, you also see that they actually locked in a Jhin, which is I'm not sure if this has even been picked, this split in the SLE. I haven't seen every game, but to me, that's at least the first year. And they're going to pair it with Ixana, which I think is kind of strange because I think when you are locking down Jarvan, you kind of want to go in, but Ixana is kind of very much, I want to peel them off. But if the ultimate works well against the Hecarim, it might be valuable. Then again, if Hecarim times his ultimate into the Janna ultimate, he's not even going to get pushed off, so it can be kind of scary there. Then again, they've also locked down some scaling, which I did kind of suggest with the Veigar, but it's a bit of a pixel all over the place. But I do think that they have kind of like good lockdown here. But Sivir could just walk out of it, so it's gonna end up how they layer it and how they punish potentially the Sivir Flash if they can really lock down this hyper scaling AD carry. But I think the scaling is very much actually in favor for Beasts as they've also locked in the Ornn there and an Orianna. So it's not going to be an easy time for the Goblins here with this Jhin, which I think is a mid-game spiking champion more than a hyper late-game spiking champion.
Definitely so, and I am also very glad to see that they did not go with the Galio once again. The Galio to me felt like it didn't have too much of a impact in that game number one. Galio overall just doesn't seem like that good of a champion at the moment in the meta, and I do agree with you, and I think you are right when saying that Jin is, or this is the first Jin we are seeing in Split 5, and the first Jin I've seen in a while when it comes to a sort of a 5v5 competitive setting, so to speak. So definitely gonna be interesting to see what the side of Greasy Goblins can do with that. Although this time around, they have drafted themselves a winning top side. Granted, Cyber was also winning the last game, but you can't really carry as hard on a Sejuani as you can on a Mordekaiser, right? Mordekaiser is a very good champion into the Ornn as well and can just sort of dominate the early game against that orange. So definitely at least one winning lane for the sort of Greasy Goblins. But overall, with these two drafts heading together, I know you were talking at least a lot more about, or hyping a lot more about the Beast Team Esports comp in this game number two. But do you think it is going to be an easier game for Beast to play based on their draft, or do you think it's going to be pretty even?
I think it's going to come down to how valuable this Jhin can be because I think this Hecarim actually has a decent time punishing it. It's so fast, it's hard for the Janna to place a tornado well. And he's going to get at level 6 an ultimate from the Sivir to speed him up. And there's also the Karma Shield buff coming in. If they also just walk up a little bit too far and Karma just presses W, she's going to be able to lock them down as well. So I think it's kind of scary for the sides of the bot lane of the Goblins going up against I guess the jungler and bot lane from the Beasts. But then again, you do have a Jarvan. Jarvan can kind of skip camps. He can do level 3 camp ganks. He's kind of a creative jungler, I guess, in terms of pathing. But it's gonna be coming down to how they play the 3v3, I think, mostly. But yeah, I'm not sure if this Jhin is gonna be able to do a whole lot personally. I just don't think it's really that good in the meta right now. And I think just a normal AD carry would have been fitting better. I think something like Ashe was actually open. I think it works quite well into Sivir. She can just slow her and she can't spell shield it really. There would have been other answers I think that would have fit just perfectly in there. But we're gonna go into game and just see how it all played out, anyways, as we can talk about it for days. But we need to see it in action, right? We talked about it earlier today as well with the execution. Let's see how it does come down. Momentum is heavily on the sides of the beast, so let's see if the Greasy Goblins can get themselves a stronger position in this game too.
Definitely. So, and I'm so glad you did bring up the point of momentum because after a game like that, losing that hard can be a little bit difficult to bounce back from already seeing a scuffle in the top side jungle as Valiant is gonna be engaged on
It was
in
a
this
lot
level
of
one, but
damage.
nothing but a flag gonna be dropped on. He said you saw also Panini picked up a couple of first strike stacks, which means he's gonna have a little bit tiny bit of a gold lead and in the mid lane. And yeah, that is a lot of damage. It's gonna force Valiant to recall, which means he might be, depending on the timers, a little bit late to his first kill.
Yeah, gonna be. But I was actually surprised. It's just like the passive and the flag just being enough already to chunk him for like 40% of his HP. I'm gonna put him a little bit later in his clear, so a little bit of a tempo advantage right now towards the Jarvan. Let's see if he actually opts into like some early ganks here. I think he can do something like blue, gromp, red into a bot gank to maybe punish the both dashless champions in the bot lane. So he might be able to shake up that tempo and put a lead onto this Jhin, because I do think if this Jhin does get a lead, he can very easily follow up on the Jarvan, even though the Jarvan might engage far away from you because of that long range in his W and later on with his ultimates. They have really good CC here. They also have the gauge, so if they can get the momentum rolling, I think this is a comp that can very easily create picks. Let's see if they can get that rolling, as we're gonna see Hecarim bathing towards his Crux. He's definitely gonna do a full clear right now. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's see if this Jarvan can get some early value here. He's actually opted to start with the Wolves, so not looking for an early gank as it looks right now.
Definitely not. And so far, we talked so much about this Jhin and Snacks definitely getting chunked out in this bot lane. And this is not two champions that, when I think of the Greasy Goblins bot lane, I don't think of Janna, I don't think of Jhin. I think of things like Kai'Sa Nautilus, right? I think of things like Rel, for example, things that just engage a lot heavier than a Janna does. And it's what I'm used to seeing in the hands of Hacks. He's normally the one who runs things like the Nautilus. That's at least the champion. When I think of Hacks, I think of Nautilus immediately. I think of these engaged supports right. And now seeing him on a Janna is not exactly what we're used to seeing this player on. So it'll be, for me at least, interesting to see how this is gonna equate to sort of his playstyle, how this is gonna do with him, and whether this is gonna be something that, depending on this game, gonna become a staple pick in the Greasy Goblins lineup, or whether it's just gonna be a one-off.
So I will say that I don't think Nautilus would be good here in this comp, as I think what Sivir's best against is those type of hook champions because of her spell shield. So I wouldn't have picked the hook champion here myself either. But then again, you picked yourself a Kiana, and oh, we're actually maybe seeing some bot lane action right now. So they find themselves a snare and a good trade here on the side of the Goblins here, as they've been bouncing this wave back into them. But meanwhile, the Hecarim kind of snuck away this Scuttle as he's opting into a fight though.
Oh, he's gonna go in there. Devastating charge, not gonna be used to get him on out. That's gonna be the flash cage coming through and should be first blood as well. Germany point very low as well. Might get taken down here. Danny 8 gonna be in trouble. Might have to flash on out of this one. He's gonna flash late. Will there be a flash follow-up from the side of Beast Team Esports? No, there will not be, as he does end up getting out there as Beast Team Esports get away with absolute murder, in my opinion, as Danny 8
Oh, I
is
agree.
gonna be able to live. Now some more pressure on this bot lane, as the WAP is gonna be looked on by the bot lane of the Greasy Goblins, trying to just zone him off. A little bit of CS autos coming through as well. Hacks is getting pretty low here. Does need to be a little bit careful of these boomerangs, but the boomerangs is gonna do nothing but bounce between these minions, as there's gonna be no kills early on.
I think that was quite illegal what the Valiant did. He already got the scuttle, kind of like when this Jarvan was looking for a bot lane gank. And his bot lane didn't have prio at all, but he takes the fight anyways, and he almost ends up falling there. Just quite makes enough speed with his ghost to get out. And then the Orianna does almost find himself with a return kill, but because of the heal from the Jhin, will not be getting a kill on this Jarvan. As we see Hecarim potentially finishing for some doubling roll, just end up clearing the wards. As I was saying, that Zoriana almost found themselves a kill, but because of the heal from the Jhin, will not get anything and almost ends up dying, just flashing out the safety barely. As sadly for the Goblins, they won't be able to pick themselves up a very easy kill there, because that was kind of really questionable what the the beast did there. So I felt like they should have been punished. But oh, great damage from Danny 8x8.
Oh, that is not a lot of health on the side of Panini there on that Veigar, and like you said, great damage coming out. A very rough early game, I feel like, for both teams here. I feel like the execution so far has not been amazing coming out from either side, but then again, Valiant is also not 3-0, so this is already going better for the side of Greasy Goblins than game 1 was.
Well, it took him a little longer, I think, to go 3-0. Although and it was quite early, so maybe by 8 minutes. Let's check back in on his KD by then. So yeah, you can then by 8 minutes say whether this game is going better or not. But meanwhile, it feels, I guess, like also a little rough there for Danny. But he also just meant like just not quite gets that kill there. So I think at least in the mid lane, it's going fair. Both get out by the skin of their teeth in their respective scenarios. As the Jarvan has gone into the pit first now. Both control ward stands going to clear the one away on the side from the beasts. And meanwhile, we've got this Hecarim potentially looking to do the same to the wards from the Goblins. But bot lane has really good push here, and it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping either, as we're now seeing potential lane gank from the Hecarim. But yeah, he's going to be immediately recalling. I think if this Sivir, if she's perma pushing and she just stops using abilities on the waves all of a sudden, I think that's a very clear sign there's a horse in the bush. So not going to be looking to do anything like that. So meanwhile, he's just going to recall, just going to continue to farm, and he wants to get his first item, and I think that's when we saw before, right, when he picked up his Shojin very early on. He started to take over fight, so he's not wasting any time, he's just going right back into the jungle.
Definitely so, and this can be one of the issues with Jhin as we see some more fighting down in the bot side. And back to my earlier point, one of the issues with Jhin can be against things like the Sivir is when you're getting permanently pushed in. Jhin is not one of the easiest AD carries to farm with under tower with that 4-shot mechanic, and you might miss a couple of CS while you're reloading. So far, we are seeing a little bit of a CS lead over to Mum Feet, about 16 at the moment, as we do see both the junglers meeting each other in the top side river, but that's going to be all they will be doing. I don't expect either team to put too much pressure on this early dragon. Chemtech Drake being the first Drake doesn't really bode that much of importance. We are seeing Mum Feet run out of mana a little bit here, so the side of Greasy Goblins bot lane could look for something, but so far no action on the rift.
No action just yet. It is kind of a long ranged support versus ranged support, but I think it's fair to say that the side of the beasts are kind of getting better with them as a shockwave in the mid lane comes down, and I think that should be a kill. Donated over to the horse as he picks himself up 400 gold for first blood. That kind of came out of nowhere, but meanwhile we see the Jarvan potentially trading back the Herald here as the Mordekaiser is coming in for the help. So at least something going to the side of the Goblins while the first blood is being claimed in mid lane.
All I want to say is we mentioned 8 minutes early on. Look at the timer. You picked up that kill about 8:20, 8:30, so, our math adds up. The script does seem to be written in front of our eyes, and so far it does seem to be Valiant with the early on lead with that one kill in his pocket. A bit of a CS lead as well, actually, as Hecarim does tend to clear a little bit faster than the Jarvan does, especially in those AoE camps. And we are seeing the WAP so far put some vision down for his jungler in that dragon pit. But so far, a pretty chill early game coming up from both teams outside of the first spot being picked up by Valiant. But Panini is not having a good time in this mid lane against Danny 8x8, although he is up by 8 CS, so I think on a Veigar he's been chilling.
Yeah, he needs to just get his stacks in, though I can't quite see how much he has regained right now. But I do see that, like, I think Cyber is getting the better of Paper, I guess, in the top lane a bit in terms of CS, but he isn't Ornn, so he kind of doesn't mind. So in the meantime, you see bot lane kind of getting also like a two-wave lead now for the side of the Sivir, and I think that's kind of like what I wanted to actually touch on a bit. It's two ranged supports, but they've opted into the Janna, which is kind of rough into a poke support like a Karma. Your shield has been nerfed like a long time ago to not be up that much, so you kind of just end up taking damage, and the Karma doesn't really care about anything that you do. So in the meantime, the Sivir is just kind of perma shoving, and I think I think the CS deficit is coming from the fact that this Jhin struggles in farming, but there's a fight now in the Trabush.
Jin's not the only one struggling. The WAP now gotta be under contention. Curtain Call is gonna be coming out. God of Hack's gonna be under threat. The Flash is gonna come on out now. The WAP is gonna be the first one to go down. Valiant Conqueror Proc could just run down the entire team with the Greasy Goblins. Cataclysm is gonna keep him in, but he's gonna get taken out one feet now, making a run for the hills. God of Snack's gonna be under
Oh,
threat.
that
There's gonna be
ultimate!
Shockwave coming through 2 men, but it's only gonna pick up one, and Danny 8x8 with these huge ultimates. And today is definitely a good day for Oriana because everybody seems to be popping off on the champion.
Absolutely great ultimates today on Oriana. The shockwaves absolutely landing and actually kind of securing their a little bit of a team fight win as she manages to push out the wave at last, so she does kind of gain priority. In the meantime, you see that the Hecarim and the Clan have sprinted down to this Drake, so they should have priority, should be able to get this Drake, I think, off the back of this fight, as this Jhin has to recall, seeing a lot of gold. I don't think he's gonna end up staying, and this Jarvan doesn't have ultimate, so I think he's getting turned on right
He is
now.
getting engaged on, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the middle of three
Gonna
people.
come
He's
out.
dead.
Germany is gonna fall, and that is another death over onto him, another kill over onto Falianet, and Spear of Soldiering is gonna come out, and this is pretty much all going the same start we saw last game for instead of Beast Team Esports, so I'm starting to get a little bit worried here for the Greasy Goblins, although
it
looks
looks
a
a
lot better.
little bit better in the beginnings for so far. I think that fight was quite close still, and it just kind of like it's a small victory for the side of the Beast, but they managed to turn it into a Drake with this tempo here, and then the Jarvan not really respecting that the rest of his team is not quite there yet. I think he kind of face checked, so just gets up picked off, and that does manage to get a solid lead here, especially in mid lane, as you see Danny 8x8. 2-0, I think he picked off maybe a second kill there, or maybe that was just an assist, but he might be close to finishing his first item. As we do now see this, at least now I've noticed that there's a Shojin on this Hecarim, so last time looked very strong, but this fight's starting mid lane.
Fight in the mid lane, Panini gonna get engaged on here as there was a shadows of Onslaught being burned, as well as the fighting in the mid lane continues. It's gonna be Panini falling down very, very low. Danny 8x8 should be going down here, but does end up making out by the skin of his teeth. But Valiant is gonna end up falling in that mid lane as the Horsey is gonna get executed, and Valiant not having as good of a start as he did in this last game, but still putting on a performance.
Yeah, a bit off camera there, so we were looking at bot lane, just poking away at each other. Meantime, this the WAP kind of annoying Buddha there to holding the wave for his mid lane. I'd love to see that here, making sure that this Danny 8x8 can pick up this wave. As he's finished now, his Ludens, as the opposition has only locked down more CC, as he's going to be using it, but not gonna manage to get too much as he's getting quite low. He's gonna have to respect that. It's gonna get pushed out. He does have TP. I think he just has to kind of like go back here. Don't think there's anything to play for in the top side anyways. There's no herald right now. He's gonna just base TP back, catch the wave.
Oh, the flag was dropped, which means the combo won't be available for Germany. Interesting move coming out of him now. Hax is gonna be around the WAP. Does need to shield himself to get that movement speed. Cyber though is around. He's gonna bring the WAP over to Brazil. The WAP will get whacked in that death realm, and he's gonna get taken down. Cyber with his first kill and first contribution on into this game.
Yeah, Cyberskirk's kind of punishing this this aggressive positioning from the side of the Beast, but they were doing it without their jungler. They were kind of looking maybe to steal this blue buff, but yeah, they did it without backup. As this Hecarim might potentially get turned on right now.
Valiant needs to be careful here. Cataclysm is going to be available as well, but Hecarim does quite a lot in scenarios like these. A lot of damage coming out. The Shockwave is going to go wide. The teamwork not coming through their own horn as well is going to be used now to just for zoning. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Snacks ends up being solo boloed by Mammon Feet, and the team play just not going strong there for the side of Beast Team Esports.
Mammon Feet securing at least an advantage there, even though they lost the team fight in the mid river there, which is kind of out of position. They kind of not really respecting for the Beasts here the CC that comes down from this Faker. He's picked himself I forgot the Everfrost, right? Like it's added on CC, and if he even misses, he just puts down the cage, or you can put down the cage and then Everfrost him inside of it, so you can land your spells easier. He's already got 143 stacks. He's making himself very, very strong right now, and You have to believe that if anybody gets stunned that is not Ornn, you're getting killed,
There you
which is
go.
exactly what happened right there. You were quite low, the WAP. I'm confused as to what you were trying to do versus a Veigar who is full HP.
You
But
couldn't even
yeah,
finish your sentence before he just goes on and gets himself whacked. And so far, not having a great game for himself either, as we do see the side of Beast Team Esports are looking in the jungle of the Greasy Goblins. The root, sorry, will go down onto Falionet. The Deadly Flourish coming out from Snacks, but it will just be the Horsey running away. Dragon is going to be spawning down very, very soon. Infernal Drake in our hands as well. So a little bit more pressure for both of these teams to get this one. But Feet pushing very aggressively in the mid lane means that this action for now is going to die out. Unless the WAP is going to get telecalled. No, okay. For now, the action is going to die out.
yeah, he's not on Rakan. He doesn't have any dashes. He kind of has to respect this because he's still walking up though. Like this Cataclysm will secure him being locked down. This is kind of risky, but with the help put down here, the Goblins have their eyes set on this mid lane tower as they're gonna pick themselves up. I believe not actually the first tower, but it is the mid lane tower first before the Beasts have answered theirs. So opening up the map themselves for themselves a little bit as meanwhile, Oriana's been pushing in this bot lane. She is chunking the second tower, the tier 2, quite low, but it's not going to be able to quite finish it up as you see the goblins making their way down there to make sure that she can't keep going up as she has already walked away as their eyes are now set on this Drake instead. In the
I
meantime, I
was
think
just watching the WAP walk up over and over again. He just kept recusing.
I think he
Because
needs to play Rakan if he wants to do this, though.
Yeah,
This,
definitely. You don't see it too often on the card.
but then again, yeah, balls, you know. Oh, gets the flash though. Okay, I didn't expect him to go for that. I think he was quite out of range. Even if he didn't flash, I think the fear would have at least sent the Jhin walking backwards. But yeah, you have to. He's just kind of like respect flashing after last game. You see how much damage this Hecarim does. Although this Hecarim just only has Shojin so far, so not sure if it would be enough. But just taking a safe flash, they're not gonna want to die. Wants to pick this wave. Meanwhile, recalls coming through from the beasts that are making their way back out on the map and looking for the next play as Hecarim just goes right back to clearing, and he's solidified himself with a big CS lead over his counterpart in the jungle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I wasn't even looking at that. 144 to 99 so far. Not even triple digits yet for the side of Germany. It's just because Falionet has been living in his jungle. This man has spent more time in this jungle of Greasy Goblins than he has in his own, and that is definitely showing. Spear of Sojourn coming through as well. Although items are very similar for both junglers at the moment, so we are not seeing any big item gaps coming through. But Panini does need to be a little bit careful here, as Valiant is going to be looking for an engage, but nothing else but looking will happen on the bot lane.
Yeah, this Veigar is actually still worth 400 gold bounty. But yeah, speaking about CS, I don't know if he just managed to farm this in one lane. I think that's quite impressive then, but I think he managed to maybe pick up 2 lanes. But there's over 10 CS per minute on the side of the Sivir, by the way. So that is, she is picking herself up quite a lot of gold right now. She's sitting on 2 items. So on half an item up on this Jhin right now, I think purely based on CS, just that 1 kill though.
Oh,
Meanwhile, we've got the WAP. I guess he walked up a little bit too far as he's getting whacked with a Jarvan pole.
this time he walked up and Germany just said, you know what, I've had enough. Just put down the Cataclysm since you walked up one too many times, as there's going to be a stun in the bot lane, and Panini needs to be careful, because if Panini gets a few more items under his belt, those are actually going to start killing him if he's not careful with the cage, but it's going to be another camp stolen by Falionet. And I think this is why he's up by as much CS as he is. We are seeing a little bit of re-engage as well come through. That's going to be the Shadows coming through, the dash coming through as well. Double TP on the side of Beast Team Esports now to kill. He's going to be picked up here. Keep your eyes on Pop or Duck. Still have the phone horn to his name. Danny again is going to be brought into the Shadow Realm, but should be able to survive out of this one as the fight continues at the outside. Snack's going to be taken out. Pop now. He's going to be the one who picks up that kill. Danny 8 might actually survive after all that. He's going to be able to get himself one out, and Danny again with a stupendous play, and Cyber is going to fall.
2 kills for the sides of the beast there, actually. I felt like Falionet manages to steal the blue buff, I think, as you highlighted, but then he runs into the river kind of still like out of position because none of his team members were actually that close, and he's going to use his ultimate aggressively into the Jhin to kind of like pressure him even more, but he was kind of outnumbered, so he does fall down first. But all of his team then have regained position and do manage to trade at least 2 kills back. So all in all, worth it for the side of the Beast, and you see that there's now a 3-1 and 2 on the side of the Sivir, working her way towards her third item, still sitting on a kill as well she can sell, so she is looking quite happy, I think, in this game so far. I think the only way that she can get like sort of screwed is this Jarvan Cage, but right now I think the WAP is doing a great job in taking aggro on that aspect, so it's not going to be used on this Sivir anytime soon, I guess.
Yeah, so far WAP has been the target of most of these cataclysms. Battlefield sort of has just been chilling in the side lane. No one's really minded him too much, but I think the side of Greasy Goblins might start minding him once Battlefield gets himself a couple more of these items. Sivir is a champion that once he gets into that late game can definitely hurt. And not only that, but this man is level 14. He's the highest level in the game as an AD carry, as Fallinet is again just looking, hunting, but Germany does have the flank here if they do want to look for a fight.
I don't know who's flanking who right now. This the Jarvan's not pulling the trigger. Meanwhile, the Ornn is also looking to position himself on the blue side there of the map, but they're gonna find each other right now. And then there's a Mordekaiser as well. I don't know how. Where's the front line right now?
The flanker gets flanked. Germany now is gonna be the one who's under the flank. Valiant is gonna be the one engaged on that. Have the ultimate on out now. Keep your eyes on Cyber, the WAP and Mammon Feet with the disengage. Germany is gonna get taken out here. The Cataclysm is not gonna be available. Do Spell Shield there to deny that Everfrost. Papor is gonna be under threat. Curtain Call comes on out. Papor is gonna be sent to the Death Realm. Mammon Feet now helping Valiant with the Drake Dragon. He's gonna be the target of
that is a lot of damage.
Esports. A lot of damage.
Oriana just one-shot Jhin in the back line.
That's gonna be Danny who finds the WAP in the back line. Panini now walking in with his cage. Battlefield needs to be a little bit careful here. Palinette is gonna be under siege, but he does end up securing that Drake. Now Danny does have the flank here, but I'm not sure you wanna be flanking Cyber. This man is crazy as he ends up picking himself up a shutdown onto the Veigar, and that is one of the most confusing team fights I've ever seen.
An ace for the Goblins, though. Great fight for them, actually. It started all over the place. You had Germany trying to, of course, do some illegal movements throughout the map, because that's just typically what Germany does, true to the fucking nation, I guess. But no, in the end, he does kind of like manage to hold them off. They kind of try to turn on this Jarvan, but he can't really do anything against him, and then you have people stuck on the other side with Raptors. But they're contesting this Baron right now, though. It's not over just yet. This Ornn very tanky, but yeah, the WAP just walks up and
jumping
can he get whacked?
on sound, but Porno gonna get knocked up as well, and I'm not entirely sure what the Baron call was from the side of these Team Esports. A lot of low members there, as it's gonna be.
I think it's walk up.
Who started the Baron on their side? 7,000 HP so far, 5,000 falling. Very quickly, Danny has now made his way on over. Fallianet is still gonna be jumping on. He does have a smite available. Shockwave as well. Look at this.
This isn't real. Nah. Nah.
What is
but that's hard.
For Mammon Feet, and it's gonna be Baron somehow still going over to the side of Beast Team Esports with maybe the... I don't know.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. Like, they walk up, they get kills, and they're like, okay, we could do this Baron again. But then the Sivir and the Hecarim arrive with their wallets, and they're just kind of taking over the team fight as the cooldowns are just not there to deal with them. And then all of it, it's like the Baron at the end of it's like left on 1,000 HP. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll take this. Thank you. Thanks. I don't know. Everything coming together here with Side of the Beast, but like, nevertheless, like, great fighting there, and it's like, the Hecarim diving into that team fight just buys also so much time for this Sivir that I think she just finished off the Veigar on her own, and then just picks up the rest of the kills. So now it started to look good for the Goblins, but it turns right back on its head as it's now Beasts with the Baron. They have themselves 3 Drakes, so they are the ones with control over this game right now.
Goblins was initially the team who won the team fight as well, and start the Baron. Beast Team Esports walk on over, kill them, then get killed themselves, then walk back on over, and just a very confusing play coming out. But a play that might be less. Oh
He
my
spell
god,
shielded
that
deal.
spell shield on the Death Realm was absolutely gorgeous. And feet stuck into Cataclysm with German and out of fact with a good ultimate to get everybody on out of Valiant. Gonna be jumping in there into the midst of everything. And Mammon Feet slowly scaling has finally said, I want an impact on this game too, and is now making a difference.
Absolutely massive comment clutch in here. This the spell shield to start it off with, and afterwards, I think he's just looking for more. The WAP walking up, lining up a kill. Another time for Mammon Feet, but this time the WAP will survive this aggression. Great play here coming through. They're gonna pick themselves up the fourth kill. There's only one man left standing, and they have Ornold. I think. Why not pull the trigger here? Let's just get this tower. No, as they're gonna say no though. Yeah, there's too much risk here. Never mind. Never mind. I'm too excited, I guess. But yeah, great pickups here for the side of the beast here. Like the Sivir is absolutely huge. She's also got the Orn upgrade right now. That is 4.5 items on Sivir. Usually it's a 600 CS win condition, but she is there soon at 300. So that is a doubly accelerated Sivir. So that is a scary prospect for the Goblins to deal with.
Definitely so, and I mean, even with that, the Orn item as well, just giving that extra little stat, that extra little pat on the back to the boost that she already has. Now Germany gonna be looking for a sneaky player running into Mammon Feet immediately. Cataclysm is gonna be coming on out onto Mammon Feet. Can he keep himself alive, Sivir? As the shockwave is gonna get spell shielded again by Mammon Feet. A beautiful play coming out there, and that's going to be the Cataclysm not providing too much value. Germany, at the end of the day, is the one who engaged and the one who ends up walking out on less HP than Mammon Feet does. The Silver is putting on quite the performance as well.
Germany now for the second time trying to gauge this Sivir, but who's stuck there with who? As it feels like both times the Sivir just comes out of this boxing match with a win. So now they're gonna set their eyes on an Ocean Soul as it's spawning in 4 seconds. Jarvan is running from the mid lane. Can he get there in time? I think he has to go straight though. He's spending too much time. This dragon's just gonna be gone.
The dragon is indeed gone. Are they gonna look for the re-engage, look for the fight? Top 4 definitely is gonna look for something. The dash comes on through, but he's so tanky. Ornhorn as well, they're gonna pull the trigger here. Now the Veigar is gonna be target up first. Panini is gonna fall. Lufalianet in the backline, God of Hacks, nowhere to go. Mammon Feet legendaries 11 on 2 on the Silver. Valianet still hunting, still looking. Snacks is gonna fall as well. Danny 8x8 versus Cyber in the Death Realm means that Danny 8x8 is gonna walk on out, and the side of Beast Team Esports with an ace, with an absolute sweep, and with an absolute domination on the Greasy Goblins.
A great second game here as well for the Beasts. It's a little bit more rocky at the start here, but they just take over the team fight. There's just not enough damage on the side of the Goblins, especially once your Veigar falls down. They just kind of dismantle them as they're just gonna run it in with their Ocean Soul. The TP on the cannon to keep it alive, maybe getting themselves another kill on Hacks on the Janna. Not quite working out. They cage the Sivir again, but I think she's gonna come out on top out of this boxing match as well. As she's she's just gonna running out of the ring and she's just gonna end the game here. And that's 2-0 for the Beasts.
Definitely so impressive performance to say the least out of Mammon Feet, and what two games as well, and what a fantastic final game to end us off for today. But who would you say in the overall, I'm not gonna ask this game specifically, but overall in the series, who do you think played the best?
Well, it's just a WAP diff, no. No, in all seriousness, I think you saw two really standout players, and I think it's both the jungler as well as the AD carry. But I think in game one, I would have wanted to give it more to Falionet, I guess. But then again, maybe you got a little bit of an advantage. It felt like he was given it for free by the Goblins in a way. The second game, he had to work more for it, I guess. But I think when you see the Sivir pop off like this, just kind of like in the Baron bit, like in the Baron fight, she kind of just walks up to the Veigar, spell shields everything she needs to, just kind of like rolling over the team fight. Had a great game one as well. I kind of just want to give it to Mammon Feet there. I think his stats look insane throughout these two games. I think he had a really good game here.
I mean, yeah, and that's definitely fair as well. And I would agree. I feel like Mammon Feet definitely was the person who made the difference. And to me, at least, Mammon Feet has really been a stable, like, inside the squad, right? Feed is normally the one who tends to not have too many bad games, even if the team does end up crumbling around him. So it is good to see that this time around as well in that game two on the Sivir ends up making the difference. First game on the Kaisa, and just to me, not necessarily like the standout performer in all the games his team plays, but definitely to me seems to be like the most stable person on the side of Beast Esports, someone who you can always look towards and always say that he's gonna not necessarily carry 1v9 every game, but he's never gonna like have a bad game or a horrible game for himself.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit more safe and stable when you got the WAP alongside you, I guess. So, so the one guy goes crazy, the other guy just goes consistent, I guess. So no, looking like that duo works out right now, quite nicely so far. So 2-0 for 2-0 week for the side of the beast. So really, really nice gameplay for them, and I hope that the Greasy Goblins can manage to find their footing next week back. As the game one looked really bad though, but I think the game two, I think you can. I hope they can take comfort in the fact that they managed to put up a really good early game as well. So maybe just revise like what happened wrong, maybe in some of those calls when you go for the Baron, because I felt like they really just it just kind of fell apart there, sadly. But I think they can manage to bounce back next week.
Definitely. So, and Greasy Goblins as a team has shown us that they can definitely show up on the day. And if they do show up on the day, can put up a great performance. But that is going to round us off for tonight, going to be the last game of the day. And before I do close us off, I quickly do want to go over some of the results of today because not all of them was on, at least on the SLE stream. Some of them were, of course, community streamed, but some of them weren't streamed at all. So, Blazing Pandas versus Vitagen ended up being a 1-1. Rebel Lynx versus Gucci Yang 1-1 as well. Solar Ares versus Black Manta, which is the game we had earlier today for those who didn't end up catching that. The Solar Ares did end up taking that series 2-0. And then Beast Team Esports versus Greasy Goblins, the game we just finished up 2-0. And then Gucci, I believe it was Gucci Ying versus Ragnarok as well ended up in a 2-0 for Gucci Ying. So definitely good to see that all of the games were competitive, and I at least do believe that all the games were fun to watch nonetheless. But I will be closing us off for tonight, the last game of our day, and I do want to thank you everybody who showed up, everybody for watching, and the VOD will also be up on Twitch for at least a couple of weeks. So if you didn't catch these games live, you can always watch them back as well. But I wish everyone a good night. I wish everyone a good day, depending on where you're watching this from, and we'll catch you next time.